Hello, everyone, and welcome to our match reaction show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for this evening. What a game at the Tottenham Stadium! A nine-goal thriller as Liverpool absolutely destroyed, mullered, annihilated, dismantled, however you want to describe it. They managed to beat Spurs 6-3 this afternoon. Lots of talking points today, so we'll do a match review, then follow up with a player ratings. This is also a calling show, so if you'd like to come on and have your say, the floor is yours. Hit the link that is pinned in the live chat, and I'll get you on after the player rating. So let's discuss the first half. The game started in a very attacking manner. Both teams were on the front foot, which hasn't been our style of play this season under Slot. Normally, we're a bit more calm and composed, but it was a sign that this match was going to be a spectacle. The deadlock could have been broken a lot earlier than the opening goal, as chances were created. Mohamed Salah had quite a few on his part. One of the shots was blocked by Spence, who, to be fair, had a good game at left back against Salah, and another one where he went past two players and rattled the crossbar with a right footed shot. But the opening goal occurred in the 23rd minute, and what a ball from Trent Alexander Arnold! Whipped it in with plenty of curl and pinpoint accuracy towards Luis Diaz, who applied a fantastic header into the corner to make it 1-0. Then Liverpool continued their charge and added another one on the board as McAllister makes it 2-0 with a close range header. Great ball from Robertson towards Szoboszlai, and then McAllister reacted to extend the lead. But then, unfortunately, Liverpool conceded a goal, and McAllister was at fault. He received the ball from Trent and completely miscontrolled it. Madison nicks it off him and puts in a cold effort right into the corner to make it 2-1. Nothing Allison could have done about that one. Then, thankfully, Liverpool maintained the two-goal lead by adding another one on the tally just before half time. Spurs were applying pressure on the Liverpool defense. At one point, it looked like we were going to lose the ball and concede a mistake, but Trent hits the ball up top. Szoboszlai heads it down towards Salah, who returns the favour to Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai is then through on goal, hits a low shot through the keeper's legs to make it 3-1. Great finish from the Hungarian midfielder, who has really stepped it up since his return from international break. And then in the second half, Liverpool wasted no time and grabbed another one to make it 4-1. Great play from Gakpo on the left wing, who's through on goal on the left side of the box. I thought he maybe should have shot himself, but fair play to him. He cuts back a low cross towards the danger zone, and Szoboszlai slides in, but fails to make any contact on the ball. The ball then finds its path in front of Salah, and he's not wasting any time to convert that finish. So he smashes the ball from 2 yards out to put his name on the score sheet. Moments later, Liverpool added another goal to the tally. This time it was Szoboszlai who very unselfishly squares it to Mohamed Salah, and he scores from close range once again to score his second goal and make it 5-1. Liverpool was simply unstoppable at this stage. Everything was turning into gold for the Reds. But then Spurs showed a bit of fight, and that was mainly through Kulusevski, who I thought was their driving force in that team. He scores a fantastic volley to make it 5-2. Nice thing to pass from Solanke to give Kulusevski the flight to hit that shot the way he did. So great finish from the Swedish attacker. Liverpool showed elements of complacency at that stage, and they conceded another goal. Robertson loses a routine clearance, in my opinion, from Brennan Johnson, who heads it towards the 6-yard box, and former Red Solanke slides in and scores from close range with a left-footed finish. May have hurt his teeth in the process, but I'm sure he'll be pleased to score against his former club. But Liverpool managed to get the goal to seal the deal. Not that there was any pressure or any chance of us losing the lead or allowing it to slip away. Great team play as Jota finds Szoboszlai. He passes to Salah. Then Salah hits a nice through ball towards Diaz, who runs after the ball and hits a fantastic low shot into the corner to make it 6-3. And that was a cherry on top for a fantastic victory for the Reds. And what a game it was for the neutrals and for Liverpool fans. Probably not Spurs, who I'm sure were going through it in the game. Despite their brand of football, I feel like a lot of Spurs fans are getting a bit annoyed with the tactics that have been deployed by Ange Postecoglou because he's only got one way of playing. It's entertaining football, but it's also costing them a lot of results. So that's probably something that Spurs fans will be discussing amongst themselves. But on this channel, we'll more focus on the Reds. For me, the opening 40 minutes were probably the best that we performed so far this season in the Premier League, and it was a joy to watch. Credit has to go to Arne Slot for setting the team up. Um, the way he did, very tactically astute in terms of what needed to be done, deployed a more aggressive approach, and it certainly paid off. Might have been a risk, but in the end, we got the rewards. For me, everyone in the team performed really well, and it was a good day in North London. Liverpool maintained the lead at the top with a 4 point gap, and we still have a game in hand. So, a lot to be happy about. So, I'm super pleased with the result as Tottenham have been a tricky team that we've faced over the years. We might have beaten them in a lot of matches, but they've always posed a threat in terms of what we're doing in the league. Or, I remember when we were going through the title not so long ago, a draw against them cost us claiming another title in the end. So it is what it is. But in terms of this game, we have to give a massive shout out to Mohamed Salah, who has broken a couple more records today. Not a surprise, he's always breaking records left, right, and center. He's the first player to score more than 10 goals and also 10 assists before Christmas in the Premier League. And the second record is that he's now the fourth all-time top goal scorer for Liverpool Football Club. So an amazing achievement so far for Mohamed Salah. And I say so far because I feel like he'll be breaking many more records later this season. In my opinion, this man does not get enough flowers. Obviously, not on this channel. I always give my praise to Mohamed Salah, but I'm lost for words to describing how amazing the Egyptian king is. For me, he has been simply sensational since the day he walked into the club. For 8 seasons straight, he has performed at the highest level, and not only that, he's done it very consistently. He turns up in all the big games, scores countless amounts of goals, and is also the playmaker of the team. That's why he's managed to notch up so many assists for us over the years. He's Mr. Liverpool, whether you like it or not. So for me, a big statement to FSG is please get it together. This is a living legend that we're seeing right now, and he simply can't walk away from the club. Where I kid you not, I think he can still continue to play at this level for a good few more years. Despite how old he is right now, he's a player that's always looked after himself, has been professional throughout the years. So he's not playing the way that his age reflects. He's playing like he's probably like 5 years younger. So there's no sign of decline in Mohamed Salah's game. In fact, I'm seeing some areas of his game that have improved, like his passing ability and the eye for that final pass is becoming effortless on his part. So, we have to count our blessings. And I think we take Mohamed Salah for granted as Liverpool fans. We have a very special player at our club and have had a great player over the years. He's such a joy to watch. And I pray that this is not his final season with Liverpool. But obviously, that is down to FSG to what they want um, for the club. So that's my match review for Tottenham versus Liverpool. So we'll move on and present the player ratings for this match. So there we go. Let's do this. So we've got the team lineup here. Let's begin with Alisson. So Alisson had a good game, to be fair. In terms of the goals, I can't really say he was at fault or could have done any better. Um, the Kulusevski one was a great volley, point blank range, so you're not really expecting to save those. The third one, possibly, maybe could have done better there. Um, and the first one from Madison, that was one of those shots where he has so much time on his hand that you're favouring the attacker to score more than anything else. So for me, um, I thought Alisson was good in terms of distribution. He definitely had to move the ball as fast as he could. that led us to producing a lot of counter attacks. So I actually thought he had a decent game today. I didn't really think he was at fault for anything. So for my player rating, I'm going to give Allison. I'll give him a 7.5 only on the basis that we've conceded 3 goals. So that's not a huge reflection on his individual performance. But I can't feel like I can't give him a very high score if he's conceding 3 goals. So I'm going to give him 7.5. Trent for me was sublime in the first half, especially really, really good. Played with a bit more attacking freedom, with a lot more flair, and that was the Trent that we're used to seeing over the years on the front foot, whipping in balls. The assist that he provided for Luis Diaz was very much Beckham-esque the way he did. Just controlled the ball and whipped it in, pinpoint accuracy. Amazing assist there. That's his third assist of the season, so he definitely needs to up the tally there because he's better than that. We all do. So I feel like there's areas of him to do that more consistently. But I think this season he's been solely focused on doing better defensively for the team, which is a fair play to him. But I definitely feel like his numbers should be a little bit higher. But that's just me being very critical of something where I know he has that in his locker because we've seen it over the years. Um, but today I thought he was really good. Second half slightly dipped in terms of his defensive play. Um, but just look at how the other team played on that side of the pitch. Spence was pretty much man marking Salah throughout the game. Heung-min Son barely got anything on the board, barely got any influence on the game. So that's credit to Trent and also credit to his partner alongside him, Joe Gomez, who I'll touch on very shortly. That for me shows that Trent has definitely upped his game, wasn't, exposed, even though he was playing a little bit more further up, more adventurous than normal. No, fair play to Trent. I thought he had a very good game. So in terms of his performance, I'll give him I'll give him an 8 out of 10. Now, Joe Gomez, I don't know if everyone will agree with me on this opinion here. I thought he was fantastic today. Really, really good. I don't feel like he did much wrong. Pretty much close to a perfect performance in my eyes. What really stood out for me was the way he covered for Trent. When Trent went a bit more forward, you never felt like we were exposed on the left-hand side. They didn't really produce many counter-attacks whenever Trent was further up the pitch. And that's down to Joe Gomez. And Joe Gomez cleaned up any balls that was going through on that side. So Son would be running after the ball, and then you see Joe Gomez, kind of like how Konate would do it whenever he plays. So for me, a very dominant performance, kept it clean, produced some good passing. Not even talking about long range. There was a couple of times where he kept it low and split through the Tottenham midfield. So he had a very, very good game. I think he was probably one of our best defenders today. So for me, he gets a high rating. Whether you agree or not, let me know your thoughts. But for me, he gets a 9 out of 10. I was very, very impressed with Joey G today. Virgil van Dijk didn't have the best of games, in my opinion. The third goal, I have to not say yes, it's his fault or anything to that nature, but I do feel like he could have done better in that moment. Um, he was dominant to an extent, but I feel like a lot of the attacks were coming through the right-hand side, so coming through Kulusevski more so than anything else. Poro made some overlapping runs, so that was where the creativity came from on that side. He handled it well to an extent, but I don't feel like it was the strongest game today. So for me, in terms of his performance, may seem quite low, but I think it was a 7 out of 10. I don't think he was very good today, but at the same time, I feel like Joe Gomez stood out for me so much. That's probably why I've increased his rating more than anything else. So for me, it's a 7 today. And Robertson as well, I thought he had a decent game. The third goal, I have to be honest, I think he was at fault. When the ball came over towards his side, for me, it was just a routine headed clearance that he needed to apply. He seemed very hesitant and allowed Brennan Johnson to over jump him or have him over, how do you phrase it, like this leaped over him and just headed it down, which just seemed very bizarre the way it happened. And then I think caught Virgil by surprise, and then it led to Solanke scoring the goal. But yeah, with Robertson, there were moments where he made decent clearances here and there, but I always feel nervous when I see Robertson play, and that's not always been the case for me. He seems very hesitant in terms of his defensive duties. He's not very clear in terms of what needs to be done, and his reactions seem a bit delayed. Because I think normally that headed clearance would have been done a long time before it actually happened. So for me, had a good game, as in he tried to keep the ball tidy, helped out in the attack with overlapping runs, but I don't think it was his best games. He did look quite fresh in the first half, maybe due to having a little break midweek. But I think as the game went on, you can see the tiredness kind of kicking in a little bit. So for me, I'd have to give him a 7 out of 10 alongside Virgil. I think that side of our pitch was an area where we didn't really perform to our best. I feel like our right side was a lot stronger. So that's just my opinion with regards to our defense there. Now, in terms of our midfield, Brown Burke really had a good game. In the first half, his ball playing ability, or should I say ball carrying ability more so than anything else, was really good. Passing range was decent as well. Even though he plays as a pivot, sometimes he really deploys a different style whenever called upon. He can literally break through and cause havoc. There were a couple of times where he produced counterattacks for us, and he's laid the passes for other players to attack as well. So I thought he had a very dominant performance today. Really good to see. A bit not shy, but there were moments where I don't feel like he went in tackles. Maybe because he's, I think, on 4 yellows, possibly. That's from what I heard earlier on. So that could be a reason why he's not really committing in his tackles as much as he normally does. But I thought he had a solid game. Really, really good game today. So for me, it's an 8.5 out of 10. Um, Alistair had a good game as well. Obviously scored the goal from a close range header. Controlled the game. I think he definitely provided that calmness in the middle of our park. Um, Unfortunately, the first goal was down to his lack of awareness, controlling the ball and then trying to just kick it away. It's very unlike McAllister. He's normally very calm and composed in those type of moments. I think we got a bit complacent at that time because even though we didn't have a big lead, I just felt like he just took his eye off the ball for a minute and ended up costing us. Where they got a goal, gave them a bit of hope, and that led to them having a bit of a fight, I guess, in the second half. But no, still had a good performance, got a goal as well. So for me, in terms of his rating, I thought Gravenberch was slightly better, so I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Let's speak about Szoboszlai. Another fantastic performance from the Hungarian midfielder. I thought he was he was sublime. He was everywhere on that pitch. Defense, attack, like you could see his energy level was above anyone on that pitch. He was really good. Had some tricky duels against Basuma, who was literally man marking him for most of the game. But he got through it really well. What really impressed me today was the runs that he was making. Like he was making very attack-minded runs. Normally he's laying off the ball to the wide men and then leaving it at that. But today he was making marauding runs into the box and had a few chances to. In fact, he probably could have got about 2, 3 goals himself. So the assist that he gave to Salah, I think he was very unselfish to give that. Most players would have, hit the back of the net. But I think that might be down to some tactics that have been requested to Szoboszlai to try and maintain the ball. So I feel like there are times where I feel like he is a bit hesitant with his final passing. So his decision making just needs to improve because I know he's got it. I've seen it over the years, so he can certainly apply that more so in the upcoming games. But good to see him getting on the score sheet. It's his second goal in the league. For me, he's going to score more. That's my faith and my prediction for him. I do feel like he's getting more accustomed to his role since the international break. He's really transformed and looked like a number 10 that we've all been kind of asking because he's doing a defensive dude, but at the same time, he's getting involved in the attacking half as well. So fantastic performance from Szoboszlai. For me, really stood out today. So I'll give him, what should I give him? Give him a 9.5 out of 10. Really high. I know not 10 for me because obviously I think he could have scored more goals. But I think his overall play was really good today. So I'm going to give him a 9.5. And Mohamed Salah on his right side there. Another great day for the Egyptian King. 2 goals, 2 assists. Um, he had a tricky afternoon in terms of one-on-one duels with Spence, who I thought did really well from a defensive point of view. But the beauty of Salah's game is that he'll keep going, and it might not be where it'll come through a one-on-one run. It could simply be where he's made space for himself or he's moved infield a bit more and created an opening for himself. And that's where he creates those defining moments that leads to assists and goals. And that's why he's world class. That is the true definition of a world class player. Where if one way is not working, let me try another way, because he can continuously do one type of run every moment of the game whenever he gets that opportunity. But he's intelligent. He's smart enough to realize that this Spence guy, he's a big fella. So for me, he's physically, getting around me. So I need to make sure that I got to try and get him off the mark and use my intelligence to get him away in position and create an opening at right hand side, which led to Trent having quite a lot of offenses on that side. So for me, another top performance, as I mentioned earlier on, breaking records left, right, and center. Our fourth top goal scorer in our whole history. So that is a sensational achievement for Mohamed Salah. So yeah, hopefully he'll be breaking more records this season and more so afterwards. For me, that is the key. Liverpool, or should I say FSG, really need to get the act together and give him that contract because for me, replacing him seems like an impossible task, if I'm being brutally honest. So let's see. We'll talk about contract talks and all that stuff in the weeks to come. I'll be doing a transfer talk show hopefully next week as well. January is literally around the corner, a week away, so we got to make sure that we're discussing these rumors, and you know, you never know. Maybe we'll get some announcements. That's me being hopeful, but we'll wait until that day arrives. But in terms of today's performance, I have to give Mohamed Salah 9.5 out of 10. Probably not 10 because I think he had quite a few chances to actually claim his hat trick. So I'll give him a 9.5. Gakpo on the left hand side, I thought he had a good game. Definitely tried his best to be involved in the attacks, um, attacking that left hand side, played a part in that Salah goal with the low cross. I think he probably should have gone for goal himself, to be honest with you. But general play was good. Nothing too spectacular in my opinion to give him a very high rating, but I think it was a solid performance from the Dutchman. So in terms of his rating, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Diaz, wow, what a performance from him. Some fans are saying, this is revenge because he scored that goal last season, as don't need to explain that, and it wasn't given wrongfully. So maybe they thought, he had, you know, revenge on his eyes or whatnot. I feel like today he had more fire in his belly. I'll put it that way. It wasn't quite revenge, but I think he definitely wanted to make a statement or show a huge impression and try and give the Reds the victory, and that he certainly did that. He was fantastic in those opening half an hour, 40 minutes. He was sensational. Really, really good performance. If I had to critique him today, there were moments in his game where I feel like he wasn't finding his passing range. There were some passes where he hit with too much power. So one that comes to mind was the moment where Salah went past 2 players and hit the crossbar. That pass didn't need to go at that speed because it kind of delayed Salah's movement there. If it was played a bit more slower, maybe Salah would have cut in and then goes for a whipped shot rather than going on the outside and try and hit a right foot shot. So just little details like that. But generally, I thought he was really good, very, very impressive. And some fans might not like it when I say this. He has to play this position. This is I know Jota's back, but I wouldn't want to play Jota too much. I'd want to manage him a bit better. But if there's games where I feel like we need to choose who to go for in between Diaz and Jota, I feel like Diaz stands out for me. I feel like whenever he's played centrally, he's definitely delivered. It's just a great option for us to have. We've got Jota, Diaz, we've got Chiesa that can play second striker. We've got Nunez as well. So the options are there for us. And for me, Diaz always steps up whenever we need him to. So another good performance. Funny stat that this was his first Premier League goal since September, which is crazy. But obviously he's been scoring goals in the Champions League, so it doesn't feel like he's been dry in terms of hitting the back of the net there. But in terms of today's performance, I'll give him a 9 out of 10. So that is my rating there. So yeah, in terms of the man of the match, obviously I've got two players with the same score there. Who should I give it to? I'll give it to Mohamed Salah. I think he deserves 2 goals and 2 assists. You can't really beat that. But Szoboszlai was sensational for me as well. So that is my player ratings. I'll quickly mention the subs. And I see we have a call in the back, so I'll bring him on very shortly as well. So let's start with who came on. So Jones came on for McAllister, from what I remember. And then so bring on Curtis Jones. And then we also have Jota that came on for Cody Gakpo. So Jota right there. And then we had Darwin Núñez coming on for. Who did Núñez come on for? For Luis Diaz, I think, wasn't it? Yes, Luis Diaz. So because I remember it was a double substitution, so it was Darwin Núñez, and then Harvey Elliott came on for Mohamed Salah. So there we go. Okay, so here are the substitutes. Now, in terms of their performance, let's start with Jones because he was the first one that came on. Yeah, a bit of a quiet game to be fair. I don't remember seeing him on the ball a lot. I remember there was one moment where he nicked the ball off someone and did really well to hold off any challenges and led to some good passing from there onwards. But I had a pretty quiet cameo, I would say. Not as involved as the other players, I think. So for me, I'll give him a rating of 6. I don't think anything too bad or too good. So an average rating there. Same for Harvey Elliott. He was a bit more on the front foot, to be honest with you. I felt like he got involved as soon as he got on. Showing a good impression in terms of these appearances here. Had a good game against Southampton. So for me, I'll give him a 6 out of 10 as well. Jota had a good game in terms of his cameo. I think he pretty much played a part in one of our goals. So I will increase his rating to 7 out of 10. And Darwin Núñez was not involved as such, to be honest with you. Um, so I'll give him a 6 as well. I'm not going to be harsh and give him 5 because I don't remember what he did. But yeah, it was an average performance as well from him. Not much minutes to really make a huge impression, but nonetheless, still have to mention him in this rating here. So that is my player rating. Uh, what we'll do now is we'll bring on the caller and then I'll go through the comments straight after. So let's see if I can bring on. Okay. Okay.
That's bro. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
All good, bro. All good. Nice to be on the show.
Look, my friend, let me know what you think. What do you think of the game today?
I think it was a comfortable game, but like at 10 minutes, sort of, we gave them a ball a bit too much, and then other than that, I think it was just it was a good game to watch. The only thing I didn't like was that we let 3 goals in, but other than that, we scored 6 away.
Yeah.
So for me, job done. I just think the subs were wrong. It sort of
Mm,
I think soon as the subs came on, Szoboszlai sort of went out the game for about 10 minutes or so. That's
yeah.
when Tottenham got their 2 goals. I think at that time we didn't really need to make subs. If he was going to change anything, I would have put Gravenberch off and put in Endo. I wouldn't
Yeah,
even tell Gravenberch, you know what, get a yellow card. I'll leave you out of the Leicester game, you know. That was for me. I was waiting for that. I didn't
yeah,
understand why he didn't do that. Yeah, because there's a few times he could have just fouled someone, you know.
yeah. He
Uh,
refused to do it. Yeah, you're right.
so we got him for the Leicester game, so we didn't really need him for that. But other than that, I think Jones and Jota coming on. Jota took him time to find his feet, I reckon. Jones as well. But first half display by us was like top class. Like the way
Yeah,
we played, every player was just bang on it. Gomez, Trent, Gravenberch. For me, McAllister as well, another guy who came off, and I think the game sort of changed as soon as he
yeah,
came off because he's the main guy in midfield for us. He sort of controls the pace, everything. He's the main guy.
agreed. No, it's a fair assessment. I think the substitution was very interesting because at the time I kind of agree with you. I didn't really see the point of those substitutions being made because Arne Slot, he's normally very more calculated. He doesn't just put on subs around that kind of hour mark just for the sake of it. He will do it if he feels that it needs to be done. And after those substitutions were made, I feel like that was the area or that time where we got quite complacent. Maybe due to McAllister leaving, like you said, he was our controller, so we just lacked, I think, possession on the ball, and then that led to Tottenham creating a lot of openings and end up scoring 2 goals after as well. So for me, McAllister played a huge part in terms of how we set up the tempo, in terms of how we played. I was hoping Endo would get a game today. After his great performance against Southampton, I thought it was only right to award him with some minutes rather than the 5 odd minutes that he normally gets. So yeah, it's that would yeah. If we have to critique what's happened today, yeah, substitutions could have been kind of a bit later. I don't think it was necessary to
Yeah.
do it at that time. Could have been done a
Hmm.
bit later because we were cruising at that time. 5-1 it was. We didn't really need to make those kind of substitutions. Um, but the first half, you're right. For me, it's the best performance in the Premier League by a mile this year. The way we play, because we've not really played in that kind of aggressive manner. We've been quite calm and composed against other teams. So it was a joy to watch. It was kind of like a club team the way we played in the first half, like full of
Yeah.
pace and power. It was really nice to see. But it shows for me that Arne Slot is a true tactician in terms of how he wants the team to play. It's not just one way of playing, unlike his counterpart in Ange Postecoglou, who's getting a lot of negative abuse. I'm sure you've seen online from Spurs fans. So um, Arne Slot is definitely someone that knows what he wants from his team, and he's set up the team tactically almost perfect week in week out. So we cuss FSG quite a lot on this channel from my viewers and all that. But the one thing I will give credit for is the appointment of Arne Slot because I'm sure it's safe to say a lot of people would have had him in their top 5 in terms
Hmm.
of potential candidates. I was aware of him, but not to this extent. I didn't feel like no, I was excited. I was intrigued in terms of why we made that appointment, but I didn't know
Hmm.
what magnitude was going to come by. So for me, he's been a breath of fresh air to how he's set up the team and stuff. And I feel like there was a lot of good performances today. Mohamed Salah breaking records,
Hmm.
Diaz looking really good through the middle. Who really stood out for you today? Because I think there's a lot of players that really played
Hmm.
at their best today, in my opinion.
Like for me, number one, Sabotalai.
Yes,
Like
good
best game
decision.
in a Liverpool shirt that first half for me. The way he
Yeah.
just got the ball, drove like Gerrard. You know that type of midfielder.
Yes.
Um, and I think this time, like I remember, who did we play last? He made a run. He ran all the way, and what it was, you could just tell what Sabostai was going to do. He was going to pass it left to
Yeah.
Gapco in the game. And like for today, he was like a different kettle of fish. The 1-2 for his goal with Salah,
Very
through the
nice.
nutmeg the goalie, and he even got an assist as well. So for me, that's what we want to see in that type of guy. He's capable of doing it. And the
Yeah.
midfield first half for me working well again to get really well. It was the same for the Man City game. I think that was probably our best midfield display with them three guys together. So just to see them three guys working together is a very good, like, because like Klopp brought them in, and
Yeah,
now they're doing well in the slot. Slot for me, the only reason why we didn't know the guy,
yeah,
and I think what it is with Liverpool fans is look at Almiron. I can imagine a lot of people angry with Almiron today.
yeah,
You know, even if we were in the same situation as Almiron was with Slot at the start of the season, us fans
yeah,
wouldn't have moaned. We wouldn't have said anything really. We'd be like, okay, we'll give him time. But modern day football is like you can get sacked after 4 games, like Ronald De Boer at Crystal Palace.
yeah,
So for me, Slot should be really happy with what's going on with the way everything at the club's going on.
yeah.
Um, yeah, man, he's doing well.
He's doing really well. It's funny because Amrin was a lot of, I think a lot of fans' first or second choice to come in as the new Liverpool manager. So it's not always about just getting, certain managers because they're doing well in their league. It has to fit with the ethos of the club and how we want to play our brand of football. So obviously finding someone like Klopp, but not necessarily identical, because I don't think there's another Klopp out there, to be honest with you. So I think Arsenal has done wonders for us in terms of what we're seeing right now. Um, Tottenham, yeah. What do you think is going to happen with Ange Postecoglou? Because there's a
Oh,
lot of fans that are like saying
they're gone. They
he
want him. They want him gone.
yeah,
Like for me, I like he needs to be manager of Real Madrid or a Man City or someone.
yeah,
He's got the players to work for his system that he needs. Um, I like. I think he's a good manager. Look at the 4-0 away at Man City. Yeah, Man City not great this season, but he still did it.
yeah. It's a
Um,
great.
but then the problem with them is too inconsistent. Tottenham. That's their problem.
Mm, yeah. You don't know what team's going to turn up. It's literally Jekyll and Hyde. Like one day it'll be great, one day they'll be really bad. So you just don't know. And I don't think that's down to the manager as such. That is down to the players because they need to be accountable for their performances in terms they need to be consistent, right? So, because everyone says tactically he has one way of playing. So if he has one way of playing, the instructions should be easy to follow, right? So you have to look at the players as well at the same time. So
But I think
it'll be
because with them
interesting to see
two,
what happens with them.
with their two central defenders missing today, that sort of helped us. I think
Yeah,
there would have
kind
been a
of
better
different.
team if them two guys were playing.
Yeah, they've got a
So
lot of injuries. They've got about four defenders injured. When I did my match preview, I went through the list. I'm thinking, yeah, they've got a lot of players that aren't available. So because
yeah,
they've got Archie Gray, who's pretty much a
I think
makeshift
he played
central mid.
well. Archie Gray.
He actually did, he looked really good to
Yeah.
be fair. He's better than
Yeah.
the other fella, Dragusin. So I thought he was
Mm.
really good. Spence on their left side had a good game against Salah. Poro was decent. Also. So they had players that could definitely cause us
Do a
issues.
job. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think for them, the downfall was probably taken off Madison because I feel like he was literally finding his form and they took him off, I think, very early in
Yeah,
the
it was
second
pretty
half.
early. I think it was about 60-minute mark.
Yeah, around that kind of time. So if they'd kept him on, maybe it would have been a different game because we seem to lose a bit of control. I'm not going to say control, I just thought we got complacent. And unfortunately, it does
Yeah.
happen at
Yeah.
this high level because when you're 5-1 up and you're 5-1 up against a team that's very attack minded like Tottenham, you do kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit and just not play with that same intensity. Because at
Hmm.
that time they weren't really showing that they were going to battle and try and get a goal. But obviously, when you've gifted them a goal before half time, and then you let them score again afterwards, and then end up scoring conceding two more goals in the second half. I put it down to complacency, and I think you're right in terms of what you said earlier on. 6-3 sounds great for the neutral, but for me, because we're used to seeing clean sheets now, um, I'm a little bit disappointed that we've conceded three as well. It obviously would have sounded if we had like 6-1 or 6-0 altogether, but
Or 3-0.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
exactly.
would have took a
3-0 would have
3-0.
been,
I would
yeah,
have
it would
took a
have been,
3-0. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It was great seeing 6 goals, don't get me wrong. But for me, we let three in at Newcastle, three today, two Fulham. I just don't like us conceding goals. You just don't look
yeah.
right.
You can see Arsenal after the game. He looked keyed off as well, that you can see
Yeah.
it. He didn't seem happy, and I can see him barking instructions to the team during the game as well. So he's definitely not happy about. conceding those amount of goals. Do you think it's an issue for us that we've conceded quite a few in the last Premier League, three Premier League games? So we conceded two against Newcastle, conceded a couple against Fulham, and then obviously three today. Do you see it as a
Yeah.
concern, or is it maybe just down to us playing so many back-to-back games now that this is the kind of period where you do see a lot of high-scoring games just due to the nature of what's going on in terms of the football fixture list?
Um, like we've let in eight game goals in 3 games. Then that's not good.
That's not good.
Um, for me, like the main message now will be Leicester clean sheet, 100%. That's the main objective in that game. I don't want to let no goals in against Leicester. They
Yeah.
lost 3-0 today at home to Wolves.
Okay.
So for me, that's the utmost thing. I think when you get a clean sheet, it just adds a cherry on top of the cake if you get 3 points.
It
You
does.
know, and as a defense, you got to get clean sheets.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like yeah, 6-3 sounds good to a neutral fan, but for us, it's like we've been so defensively sound this year. It's only natural for us to be a little bit concerned. Like, why are we conceding so much? Like, it's not usually how we play under the slot. So hopefully we can address that. How are you feeling about the Leicester game? Are you confident going into it, or
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
expect us not to rotate because we've got West Ham on the Sunday that day? What kind of team are you expecting? Are you expecting a similar lineup to today, or are you expecting a bit more of a rotated team?
I'm thinking either Yotta or Darwin will start that.
Okay.
Maybe Darwin because he didn't even get no minutes today. So for me, he might be starting that game.
Yeah.
Um, I think what it is this season, what I would do, even with like the cup game against Tottenham, first leg, go strong, get the
Yeah.
job done, and then sort of work around the second game, at Anfield. So like for me, get the job done early. Like today was a good thing to see first half. We're going at it and really
Yeah.
destroying someone. First time
Yeah.
probably we've seen it under Slot, and that's what I like. Okay, and I think if we do that against Leicester, who are perfect sort of opponents to do that against, it gives us a bit more sort of time to just say, you know what, Salah come off for the 65th minute, come off for about 25 minutes. You know what I mean? Get it
Yeah.
done early. I think it's important because if you don't, what happens? Salah ends up getting 90 minutes. Everyone gets 90 minutes. Who can get a goal?
Yeah. I agree. I think I think we need to just manage our players a bit more now because we're going through a period of time where there's a lot of games happening in very short periods of time, and luckily right now we're getting a lot of players returning from injury. From what I've heard, Konate and Bradley aren't too far off as well, so that will be a boost. I don't think they'll be available next week or anything like. Maybe my inkling is that I think Konate might be back for the West Ham game. I don't know if it's official, but that's just because I've heard that his rehabilitation has gone quicker than planned. So he was scheduled to return the first week of
Mm-hmm.
Jan. So let's see in terms of what happens with Konate. But I feel like someone that probably deserves a bit of a shout out for me is Joe Gomez. I know he had one or two shaky games the last few weeks, but I feel like he's been really solid. And today I thought he was really, really good at the back line.
Gomez, wow, perfect. He's played really
Mm.
well. That's why I was a bit peed off with the 3 goals we let in. He sort of
Yeah,
took away the shine of what I think Robertson played all right. I think Robertson he made some timely little challenges and stuff. I think
yeah.
Robertson was good today.
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad. I've seen the reaction online and in group chats and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that bad. The third goal, don't get me wrong, I do think he should have done better with the clearance before Brennan Johnson nodded the ball down. But
Mm-hmm.
generally, he was fine. For me personally, when I see Robinson play, I do get a bit nervous because I don't feel like
Oh,
he's
okay.
as sharper when it comes to his reactions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, that's because I'm comparing him to what we've seen over the years, right? And obviously,
Yeah.
as players, get older, it's not the same, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he still made clearances whenever it was called upon. He still made the right passes when called upon. I don't think it was his best performance, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he had a solid game too. I think in the first half, he looked energetic, probably
Yep.
down to being rested midweek. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like tiredness kicked in a little bit in the second half, and that probably led to a few misplaced passes here and there. But I don't think he was that bad. I think I know a lot of Liverpool fans are not pleased with Robertson because he's not delivered the way we've seen over the years. But today, in terms of an isolated game, I thought he was okay. I thought he was
I
good
think it
today.
was
I don't
good.
think he was good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Even
think he was
Dara's
good.
saying that. Bless up Dara.
Yeah, that's up to Dara. So yeah, I thought it was a good victory. I'm looking forward to the Leicester game. Hopefully we can get the win. Then we've got West Ham next Sunday as well. It's at London Stadium, so that'll be a good one. Briefly
Yeah.
before we wrap up, do you have any hopes that we're gonna make some signings in January?
Oh,
What's your gut feeling saying on that one?
like for me, what it is, if you had a choice now, get two guys in or
Mm,
Trent, Salah, Virgil, and Salah sign contracts.
yeah,
Which one would you take? I'm taking the new contracts, but for me, I've always said this that the new contracts will be the new January signings.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Hence why I don't think we will buy anyone.
I agree. I'll take that all day long. I'd take Salah, Virgil, and Trent as the new signings. However you want to phrase it. I'll take that all day long because the way that they're all playing right now, I know some fans will say Trent hasn't played to his level as such consistently. But for me, I'm seeing improvements in his defensive play. For me,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
that he needs to get his numbers up in terms of assists. But I
He
don't
got
have
one today.
concerns about that because we know
Hmm.
it's in his locker, right? So today he was sublime in that first half. Really, really
Oh,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Really
That's
good. He
why
was
for
like the whole
me,
threat.
it's very important to get him sorted. Like people don't understand. Yeah, Conor Bradley's good, but Trent Alexander is
No,
world class. People don't
yeah.
understand the disrespect I'm seeing towards Trent. For me, Trent is the one guy I like watching playing football. He
Yeah,
can get the
same.
ball from defense to attack in 2 seconds. Who else can do that? Really, no one.
His passing range for a defender, because obviously he's a right back, let's be honest, right?
Hmm.
It's out of this world. Like, you don't see that in many teams in world football. Like what we have there is a very unique player, a very special player that can literally cut a whole team open with one pass, and he can do it quite a lot of times during the game. It's not just one audacious pass; it's consistent. He can do those type of passing regularly throughout a game. So for me, I agree. I don't know what it is with fans on on social media, especially, but I think when you don't hear anything, they're creating these scenarios in their head where they're like, "Oh, maybe he's not signing," or like you just create these kind of issues in your head.
Yeah, yeah,
But we have no context. We have no context on any of these players in terms of what's happening. Like, we'll literally just have to sit tight and wait for announcements to come. You know, I made this prediction a few weeks ago. I was like, do you know what? With Christmas Day coming up, I have a feeling they might announce Virgil van Dijk on Christmas Day because that was the day that we kind of announced that he was going to be our signing a few years back. So that would be like a nice sort of contrast. Now, we signed him on Christmas Day, extended his contract on that same day as well. But I don't know, that's me trying to be a bit of a romantic, trying to align those kind of things together. But
yeah.
I
But
just hope we get
mm,
it done. That's what I think. I really pray that we get those deals done.
yeah, so for me, that's what I was saying. Like I said it in the summer that because we haven't bought no one and no one
Yeah.
sort of signed the contracts, they're going to be our January signings. And I tell you the truth, we're
Mm,
at that situation now where I would take that, and that's how good the owners are. You know what I mean? That's how good their fuckers are.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that we would be happy with them just signing contracts and not adding to the squad.
Yeah. No.
Right, what about Chiesa? He wasn't even in the squad today.
Yeah, so when I was doing my watch along, I had to do a bit of research because I'm thinking, do you know what? If it's another injury, that's a concern. But it's not. So from what I've heard, it's not an injury.
Hmm.
It's just down to selection. So I think because we have a lot more attackers returning, so we had Jota, and we had Elliot. I think it may have been just too many attackers on the bench. So that's why we had Trey in our team, Trey Leone, and we also had Motara as our two midfield options. So I think that's why Federico wasn't selected due to having too many attackers. So it wasn't an injury related decision. It was more so too many attackers on the bench, which I'm pleased because I'm thinking if he's injured again, bloody hell, we're probably not going to see any light on that tunnel there. But no, he'll be fit and available for the upcoming fixture. So hopefully he gets some game time against Leicester. I think that'll be a good game to introduce him,
Hmm.
and then we can kind of rotate the squad a bit more. Because I don't want to overuse Salah and Diaz and Gakpo too much. I feel like we should rotate the squad a little bit more. And with Leicester being, I know they've got a new manager in Van Nistelrooy, but they're still not playing at that level that they probably want to do. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to try and get the win over there as well. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting. it'll be
So we've
interesting.
got
It'll
a
be
lot of
interesting.
games now coming. Leicester, West Ham. West
Yeah,
Ham away. I like West Ham away. I think we do pretty
yeah,
well there.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do. We've got United coming up soon as well, so that'll
Yeah.
be an
Uh-huh.
interesting one. They've got press conferences with leaky roofs as well. So if things aren't going to plan for Amarim, or some fans called him Amahim because they think he's him, but I think they're jumping the gun
They're jumping the
with that.
gun. Yeah, yeah. But you can
Jumping the
imagine
gun.
them buying players again in January.
Yeah, it's it's funny because they're making so many cuts left, right, and center. They're cutting away the stewards' bonuses from what I've heard. Like they're trying to save their pennies in
Hmm.
any shape or form right now. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the January window. I think summer definitely they will be backing the manager. I just think I think January is always a bit of a weird window to sign players because players that you normally get for 20 million, their prices inflate to like 30
Hmm.
million. So you gotta pay extra inflation costs when it comes to some of these players. But it'll be interesting. I think they definitely need some new signs, that's for sure. But
Yeah, but you
it's
know what it is?
it's
I think the nucleus of the club is not good. When you look at Liverpool, every player is professional, knows what he needs to get done, acts professional. We don't know what the hell these United players do behind the scenes. Look at Rashford, man. The guy's like got so much money he's made in football. It's probably messed with his head, and people don't really understand that. Like Rashford's been at United for a long time, hence
yeah.
why now it's like he can't do it no more. And what's
And
suffering? The game that's paid him them wages.
yeah,
Always
that's
happens. Always happens.
it's very true. Especially, and I think United have to be culprit for that because they did that with Sancho. They gave Sancho a ridiculous salary when he first joined the club, and he came in the club when he was like 20 years old. So for players like that who are very young in the game, you can't give them a salary or a contract to that magnitude where they feel like they've made it because now you've potentially reduced their drive a little bit. They've got the money. That's one drive for a lot of people. But if the team's not playing well,
Hmm.
they're still getting the same paycheck. It's not like with Liverpool, and I know a lot of fans will have issues in terms of how much FSG spend and all that kind of stuff. But what I do like about our structure in terms of wages is that it's very much orientated around bonuses in terms of performance, in terms of what we achieve as a team and individually as well. So it gives you an incentive to perform at a certain level, and you're expected to be awarded for that as well. So you know, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of issues within that club, whether it's from the top or the bottom. I'm all for it. I'm happy to see
I'm
them
happy.
playing right now. I'm not complaining, but obviously we're just analyzing it as from a neutral point of view. But
It's
the
about
more
time.
misery it is, the
Yeah.
better. Yeah, it's about time, and we'll be facing them in a couple of weeks' time. So hopefully we can cause and add more misery to their current moment right now. But JK, big up
Bless,
yourself for
bro.
coming on the show. Appreciate your
No
time as
worries.
always. I'm
And
sure we'll
best
be
up to
talking.
the chat as well. Nice coming on the show,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Thank you as always.
See you
Appreciate your
soon.
time. Okay, speak to
Bye
you
bye.
soon. Cheers. Bye. Just JK, big up to himself as always. Let's get on some comments for you guys. So thank you guys for your comments. So let's go. So we've got Dara. Big up Dara says, "How are you? I'm good, Dara. I'm ecstatic in terms of my result, but yeah, in general terms, I'm good. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for tuning in." Dara says, "Dom was excellent at times, but also frustratingly inconsistent. I think there were some moments where I do feel like his decision making needs to improve. So whether it's from passing or there's moments where I feel like he should be shooting, but he passes. So I still feel like he's finding the essence of the role a bit more. I feel like the more games he plays, and that sounds silly because he naturally seems to be like a number 10, but he's been asked to play different aspects of the game where he's doing more defensive duty than what a normal number 10 would do. But at the same time, I feel like he's really doing a lot of more things that I feel like will make him a better all-round player going forward. So what impressed me today was the marauding runs he was making. He's creating chances today, and I need to see more of that. Today was a very all-action performance from Sabozlai, and he has that in his locker. He's capable of doing that on a consistent basis. So Today is the type of performance I want to see week in, week out from Sabozai because I know he's more than capable of doing that. And Dom said in his post-match interview that he was just trying to hit the target, not nutmeg the goalkeeper. So for me, in terms of his finishing, it needs to be improved because that is one of his strong skill points from previous clubs like Leipzig and Salzburg. He was known for his shooting ability. I think he's just lacking a bit of confidence in front of goal. Um, because the assist that he provided for Mohamed Salah, I think on another day that would have been a goal for him. He would have shot for goal himself. But he's still finding his stride in that role. I feel like once he's found that balance to understand what needs to be done from an attacking point of view, I think you're going to see more goals come for him. So I think he's going to improve. And he's shown it since the international break. He's been really good, in my opinion. So, let's see how it goes for Dortmund. So most like Dallas said Chelsea dropping points was an added bonus. It certainly was. And also Man City lost yesterday, which is even more of a nicer feeling this weekend. Dallas says more significantly, he scored them quicker than anyone else. That is very, very true. That is regards to Mohamed Salah there. And Dallas says, I thought Gomez was excellent too. I thought he was fantastic. Really, really good. And these are some of your score ratings, 7.85. Very accurate there. I love that. 9.25. I think the first one was for Allison and then Trent 9.25. Trent was good. Kept on quiet. Yeah, I think that goes under the radar, to be honest with you. 9 for Gomez, he was outstanding. Agreed. 7.5 for Virgil. Yeah, just because it's 7 or 7.5, like I had earlier on, doesn't mean he was bad. It was just that I don't think he was as good as he normally is. So you gotta take that with a pinch of salt. Rumble 6.5, his lack of pace is showing. It is. He's slow in his reactions for me. And that's a concern in terms of long term. I think for this season, I'm happy for him to be in the team, but I would possibly play Simicast a little bit more once he's found his full fitness. But yeah, I think with Robertson, we can't use him week in, week out. We need to rotate him. Then I feel like he'll be a bit more efficient in terms of what he produces on the pitch. Uh, 8 for Gravenberch, 7.75 for Mac. Uh, you've given Dom 8.25, inconsistent at time, missed a one-on-one. His shooting was awful and looked a little bit lightweight in the tackle. I think that's a bit harsh, in my opinion. I thought there were definitely moments where his decision making could be improved, but generally I thought he was constantly a threat. Whether because remember a lot of the attacks that led to goals came through Szoboszlai. He was involved in that build-up play. So for me, I feel like he had a good game. So I gave him a 9.5. I thought it was really good. 9 for Mo. Football events says big up, bro. Big up, Ends as always. Please, guys, make sure you subscribe to Ends' channel. Always doing amazing content. He's a big supporter of the channel and, of course, a friend as well. So please make sure you support Ends there. And Dara says 7.75 for Gakpo, 9.5 for Diaz, man of the match, which is fair. No, not too much debate there. And Dara says both Jota and Jones were poor off the bench. I wouldn't say poor. I just don't think they were impactful as they have been in recent weeks. So that's probably me trying to make it sound more positive. But yes, I just feel like they weren't required at that time. I would have preferred Endo to come on, just add a bit more defensive stability in our midfield. I just didn't feel like those type of substitutions were required. But that's more me thinking in hindsight more than anything else. Double D said Dom man of the match for me is it was Dom or Salah. Double D, be yourself as always. I would have if I had given it to Szoboszlai, people think I'm biased because I rate him very highly. But 2 goals, 2 assists for me, Salah just edged it. But no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. For me, I thought that as well. Dara says Nunes is that a zero? Because there's no score there, so I'm going to giving Nunes a zero there. 5 for Jones, 6 for Elliott, Jota 5. I gave him 7 because he was involved in the goal, but yeah, fair play. Nunes 5.5, except for finishing. Credit to Kulusevski. Yeah, that goal was a sublime finish, but he was definitely their driving force. Son wasn't involved, like you mentioned earlier, Dara. He wasn't involved in the game as much. Uh, but yeah, he definitely, he can walk off the pitch thinking, I produced a good account of myself. The other Spurs players, some, may not have that same opinion there. Dar said we did play one of those games with 10 men, remember? Yep, we did. That's true. Dara says Robert wasn't that bad, but definitely not good. Yeah, I think there's a slight overreaction amongst the fan base in terms of Robertson. Because I will just review his performance on today. I don't really take other games that's previously happened into account. So for me, it's his face value. What did he do today? I don't think he was that bad. Um, but he still makes me nervous, and that's me being honest. He does make me nervous on the pitch, just because he's not as reactive as he normally is. So whether that's down to age or down to fatigue, who knows? But yeah, that's just how I see it. That's his hi to JK. Big up JK as always. Daz, big up Daz. He said, Ozzy, big up. Do you think we'd go same on Thursday? It's interesting, Daz. Good question there because we've got Leicester on Thursday, then we've got West Ham on Sunday. Out of the two games, which one would you regard as the toughest one? For me, I think they're even. I don't think they're that far apart. It's interesting. I think he might rotate, to be honest with you. I think he might go a bit stronger against the West Ham one. I just feel like they've got players that could cause us issues. So I think he might rotate for the Leicester one and then go strong for the West Ham. But it could change if there's any um, you know, update in terms of fitness or touch wood, no, further injuries. But that would be my thinking. I think he might rotate and then go stronger against West Ham. JK says, oh, so that's saying best of JK. Big up, you guys as always. Um, Dara says agreed and bring Batic and Doak back. I wouldn't bring Doak back personally, Dara. I think Doak should remain at Middlesbrough, continue his good form because he's been, really hitting the heights there. Because if he comes back to Liverpool, he's not gain any game time. So why disrupt his rhythm? I would let him continue until the end of the season, and then we can assess and review his situation in the summer. Whether it's another loan spell or he's been sold or he stays on remains to be seen. But I do feel like he should continue his development at Middlesbrough, playing at a very good level in the Championship. So I think it's ideal for him to play there. Only 18 years old, isn't he? So great for his development. So for me, he's at the right place. That says Ozzy does Jota start on Thursday. I think he will. I would personally start with Jota. I think it'd be a good game to introduce him. Um, Whether he plays through the middle or not, it could be a debate because Nunes might have a shout for that game. But yes, I would definitely start Jota in that one, in my opinion. Steve, big up Steve said, let's go, champ. Let's go indeed. Dara saying hi to Steve and they're returning the favor there. Jake in the house. Yes, as always. He's a good fella, Steve. Yeah, complimentary there for our community here. There we go. I knew it wasn't going to take long before Steve mentioned Robbo. Steve says Bosa Robbo doing Bosa stuff again, but defending, get him sold and replaced. Yeah, Steve is consistent when it comes to uh, his thoughts and opinions about Robertson. So yeah, appreciate his opinions there. Steve said we should have slapped them Zionist efforts by 10 goals today. We wasted too many chances. Isak up front gets double hat trick. Yeah, I thought we created a lot of chances. I just feel like we took our foot off the gas, which I was saying during the watch on that I feel like we might do. But I want us to just keep going. It just didn't occur. But yeah, it's a shame. We could have really battered them today. When it was that 5-1, I feel like we could have just gone more. Keep going, keep going. But no, got a bit complacent, made some substitutions that wasn't required at the time, lost our rhythm a little bit, and yeah, that led to them scoring two more goals. Takes the icing off the cake for me a little bit. 6-3 seems like it was a bit of a, I know it was a 3-goal gap, but it seems like, they really tried to take a go at us. They really didn't. We gifted those goals, in my opinion. So yeah, it takes a little bit of of the enjoyment of this win by conceding 3 goals, but a win is a win, to be fair. So he said Dom needs to get back to what he's good at, i.e. better passing, shooting outside the box. His work rate is on point. Yeah, I just feel like he's a bit gun shy right now. But once he finds his range, yeah, he'll be cooking. So I need to see those long shot goals because he's got sensational ability when it comes to that. Steve said Joe was 2.0 Kanata today, i.e. yes, Trent Gomez double up. on Sunday. Great game plan from Arnold. It was such a joy to watch. And you know what's funny about that whole situation? I feel like I mentioned this last season, and I'm not saying anyone disagreed or not, but I didn't really see anyone, you know, mentioning it afterwards or saying they agreed. But I said that Joe Gomez for me is the adequate or the not the perfect, I would say is the right backup player for Konate because when we were playing, the inverted role, you needed a player like a Joe Gomez who starts off in a centre back role but can cover the right side when Trent makes his marauding runs because he can play right back and centre back. So positionally, he's able to occupy both roles with ease. So for me, I've never wanted Joe Gomez to leave on the basis that when we play with an inverted role or back three or back four, however you phrase it, he suits every time the shape that we have. So for me, that performance was like a Konate type performance where he really helped Trent on that right hand side, covered him when required, doubled up when required. Outstanding. So yeah, really pleased for Joe Gomez today. Um, Steve says Matt Groundwork was so good they did not get noticed. Why did everything nice and simple? And that's what you want from your players sometimes, especially your midfielders in a double pivot. Keep the ball moving, keep it neat and tidy. Set the tempo for us in terms of how we need to play. And yeah, it was a joy to watch. So no, I was impressed with Groundwork and kind of stuff. They were really good today. Steve says I hate it when Arnold makes two subs at the same time. Why? We started to let goals in and messed up our flow and balance when Jota Jones came on. Yeah, I don't. I wasn't pleased with the timing of it, to be honest with you. Um, it would have made sense now, thinking hindsight, just to bring on Endo to kind of just have a bit more of a defensive approach, um, and then bring them on slowly afterwards. But yeah, it's a shame. But we could see 3 goals today. Cesar Jones responsible for Dejan goal, Robbo for the Slacker goal. Why? Both ball watching. Yeah, the Robertson one really annoyed me, if I'm being honest. During the watching, I was not impressed. It just seemed like a routine headed clearance that was required. It wasn't nothing, you know, spectacular that needed to be done. It was a routine one, but yeah, it is what it is. Steve says Simicast Nunes Jones starts next game. I think they'll definitely be involved. And I jotted to that list as well. I think you might be right on that one. Steve says Becker returns. Our players get lazy. We start letting in goals due to lack of concentration. Becker and goal. Our players get lazy. And in our form, if our form picks up and United keep struggling, I can see us slapping them 7, 8, 9 goals. Oh, that'd be amazing. That would be amazing. And you'll see me very shameless on stream. So yeah, let's hope that happens. Steve says I would have liked Arnold to use his 5 subs today when we went 5-1 up by bringing them on every 6, 7 minutes and wanted Arnold to go 4-5-1, play counter attack, and shut the game down. For me, just bringing Endo would have just solved that issue. You didn't really have to change the shape as such, but we could have just added a more defensive minded midfielder and even play him in a single pivot and push on Gravenberg so he's playing as a number 8 in our traditional 4-3-3 that we used to play. That would have just added an extra body in midfield, but at the same time, you've got a player that's solely there to protect the back four, and you would have kept the score sheet from there on. I probably would have scored more goals as well, but that's not what Arsenal saw. But look, that's all in hindsight. Hopefully, he could take these lessons on board because he is one of those coaches where I do feel like when things haven't worked, he's taken it into account and he's tried to improve on it from game onwards. So for me, he's not a stubborn coach in that regard. He has shown where, if he's made a mistake, he learns from it. The Nottingham Forest one will always be in the back of his mind. So things like that will always stick with him. So as long as he's learning and understanding, that, there's certain things we need to do, certain substitutions need to be made at certain times. These are things that he'll learn on the job. So for me, I can't fault his performance as our coach. I think he's been phenomenal and he's been a breath of fresh air. So yeah, big up to Arne Slot as well. So that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate your time and appreciate everyone engaging as well. So big up to Dara for your comments. Big up to Football with Ends. Big up to Double D. Big up to Daz. Big up to Steve. Big up to all you guys. Appreciate you with your sending your comments. And appreciate you guys watching live as well. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to us as well. In terms of upcoming content, I know we've got the Christmas period next week, but as you also know, there's a lot of games happening in the Premier League. So tomorrow we'll be doing a match. No, sorry, we'll be doing a Premier League match week 17 review of all the games. So we'll talk about all the matches, all the events that have taken place this weekend, and then we'll do some more content. We'll do a transfer talk show, hopefully. Next week, we'll do a match preview of the Leicester City versus Liverpool game. So yeah, lots of content coming up. We'll do the watch alongs for that game as well as the West Ham game and do a preview for that as well. So yeah, make sure you look out for that. Hit that notification bell so you know what time my streams will be going live. Also follow me on social media at Ozzie.ftp on Instagram and Ozzie_FTP on X/Twitter for all the latest updates. Or if you want to engage with me, feel free to hit me up on those accounts. So yeah, that is my socials, and that is the end of the show. Actually, I see a couple more comments here, so let me just bring them up. She says we are too open when we don't want need to be 5-1 up, 4-1, sorry, 5-1 up, change formation slightly. Yep, it's definitely a tweak that can be done. Us, I think in the future. Everton did us a favor today, give them flowers. I don't really like giving them flowers, but yeah, you know, they help themselves more than anything else. Steve saying we are back to winning games on the rot of decent draws. Good news, yeah. It was a concern that we dropped some points in the last couple of games. We've conceded quite a few as well. We've conceded some today. So for me, that needs to be addressed in the upcoming games, not to concede many goals because unlike us under Arne Slot, so that definitely needs to change and that definitely needs to improve. So yeah, on to the next one. Leicester City next Thursday. So that should be one to look forward to. And yes, that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.